with partners who are outstanding partners who have a fantastic track record of working with the communities. And we leverage their social capital, which they enjoy with these communities, the trust and and that's the key reason. Because we also work with artisan communities. We work with art weaving communities. So it's quite a diverse set of communities. The key part is that we do not work directly with them. We work with partners. So that's a fundamental difference between a microfinance institution and our model. In a microfinance institution model, their purpose is to lend money and make money on that, right? So there's no social glue, if you will, right? So they will be agnostic to why they need it, how much they need it, and they will pursue that as a business. And Mohammed Lewis has actually a very interesting take on it. So he says that 9 to 11% should be the cost of operations, plus the cost of capital should be the cost of borrowing for the borrowers. Anything more, please don't call it microcredit, call it something else. So that's that. And I think so the second question is also sort of related because of that very reason, we have managed to keep our rates very low and at the same time create disproportionate impact.
So every sector that we work in has a different loan program. So the interest rates are different, the repayment tenure is different. That is kind of planned in partnership with the community and the partner. For example, what we would do for a handloom weaver community in Karnataka would be very different from what we are doing with the street vendor community there. We have a range, our interest rates never cross beyond 18% APR, but it's less than 9% is absolutely fine, but it never crosses 18% APR. Plus, apart from whatever has been broadly agreed, the partners follow a criteria in terms of the income levels of the community, what kind of businesses they have, we get a simple cash flow of their business. So all this information is actually collected by our partners and is then uploaded onto our backend. And we also get all the KYC compliant, whatever documents are required, all that happens through the backend. And now what we have also begun to do is build credit histories of our borrowers. So we have been able to actually see how many people have come back to us for the loans, what has been their previous repayment track record. And at least for the next few years, I think we'll be able to use this data, to see if they can actually graduate to larger loans or if there can be an exit plan for them, on how can we actually link them to the formal financial institutions so that they don't have to be dependent on us for all the loans. So the whole idea was to intervene where a formal financial institution has failed to address their need, right? So our exit plan is to see how they can be linked back to the financial institutions.
So along the same lines, are you working on anything where you will incentivize good borrowers by giving them better rates or having some kind of differential? Again, where you need this kind of...
It's definitely something we'll do in the future. We don't do that right now. So right now a lot of calls are taken by the partner. For example, like I said, the handloom weaver community received their loans at 3.5%. And because the partner decided to waive off their share, they said we don't need this money for our operations because it was a cooperative and it was a larger loan amount. So right now the partner takes those calls. But then if we are able to do better in terms of seeing how can we reach out to individuals per se as opposed to just people who are part of groups, we should be able to do something like that.
Take one
What
question
about
from
your
the lady there.
dream of India becoming there, which you had started in? Okay, where you feel you are and where you would go?
I think that's why I said that Runway is not just about me or Ram or our team, and we need a lot more people to actually join hands. And we also realize that this is just the beginning, and for us to actually see a lot of change happening at the community level, we need to be able to scale our impact meaningfully. To be honest, we have just made a
explain
start.
how do we join hands if we want to? There would be many in this audience.
Sure, you can volunteer, you can join us as a social investor, get in touch with your local chapter. There are different ways. If you're looking at full-time opportunities in the social space, we are also looking for people to join us. So there are several ways in which people can contribute.
Say that you help them to go to financial institutes or who can finance them properly. So just generally, what is that rate?
We have not yet done that. So the idea is to, for example, women who've been with us for about 4 to 5 years and have a track record with us. That's what we dream of doing, but we have not yet done that.
Okay.
So if you want to change India, I think the biggest thing would be the scale. Okay. So have you ever considered now with your experience about lending and credit and accessing of wholesale finance and then scaling up so that actually you can see the change when you see it India-wide?
Yeah, so I think we're very excited about scale ourselves, and therefore if you look at our business model, right, so we have a very thin margin, and the only way we can sustain and become sustainable in the true sense is by achieving scale. So in many ways, if you look at the last 7.5, close to 8 years now, so it is a preparatory work in our own following learnings and all of that, but also making sure that the model is robust enough to scale, and by we scale, we don't compromise on impact. So as I said earlier, the payment banks present a fantastic opportunity to allow us to do just that. Now, this is how the future would look like. In a few months from now, a poor woman walks to a bank, and I want to illustrate this because it's a very powerful shift. This is going to be nothing short of a revolution, if you were to, from an India perspective, and also it will accelerate India's growth. So what will happen? Up until now, a poor woman goes to an MFI and she says, I need 5,000 rupees. The MFI says, you need to come into a group, please form a group and then come. By the way, our loans start at 10,000 rupees. She has no choice but to do that. With the payment bank, what will happen is she will walk into a payment bank and identify herself who she is. So they are mandated to follow the unique ID, so they're all accounts will be Aadhaar enabled. So the moment she walks in, she says, this is who I am, and then the payment banks would have access to 2 pieces of data like never before. One, her credit history with all the microfinance institutions for the last 6 years. So they would know that she's had a near 100% repayment track record for the last 6 years. The second data they would have access to is all the remittance data her family would have remitted from across the country. Her family members are working somewhere else. Now, if you add up all these, the UID, the credit history with the payment banks, and the remittance data, she would now stand to get a loan of her choice, amount of her choice, and also the interest rate, which could be as low as 9%, 10% APR.
Looking for the banks.
No, these are going to be payment banks.
Payment, that is
Yeah,
payment
the payment banks.
Payment.
And these are
Not from you.
Yeah, no, so through us. So if we partner with them, so this is what will happen. A poor woman would be given a tablet, but in आपके data पे, based on your data, here are the following options. And those options will be given to her for the first time. This is not real time. She will be given saying that State Bank of India is saying that they would give you at 15% APR. Punjab National Bank is giving you at 16% APR. And by the way, there is another run day, there's a waiting period of 15 days, but they will give you at 9% APR.
I'd also like to leave a message that we have a very active Rande chapter in Pune. There are people manning a small stand outside. You could get details of the same from anyone who's there. I'm part of the chapter as well, so happy to take questions on that one. Right? I think for now it was absolute pleasure chatting with you, getting to know what you do, how you do, and I'm sure it's opened up a lot of eyes, minds, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. I'll make it short because I know some of you want to head out again. All of us really understand one thing in life, that all of us need to give back to society, give back to community. We all have that ambition, we all have that dream. How many of us go out and actually do it? Yes, we do out a little bit of charity, we do give donations, we do a little stuff. At the end of the day, what is admirable is the scale and the size. You can have big dreams, but there are small steps to get there. and 40,000 people affected or impacted positively is a very significant achievement in my opinion. And the goal to move forward, I think that is what is the biggest takeaway out of this whole thought process. At the end of the day, Rangde is not about donation. At the end of the day, Rangde is not about money that you give away. Rangde is an investment. All of us invest money in so many things in life. Rangde is a form of an investment where the returns that you have on a goodwill front far outweigh the financial returns, and your principal anyway still comes back to you. So I think as a concept, it's a very powerful concept. The platform that they've created that links NGOs at one end to lenders like you or people who can be investors like us, I think it's a fantastic concept. It's a concept that is worth emulating. It's a concept that's worth participating in. So I think Ram and Smita, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming down from Bangalore specifically for this event. Really appreciate that fact. It's been an eye-opener in terms of the stuff that you've done. And I'm sure that a lot of the people in the audience would love to be a part of Rangde in the days ahead. So thank you very much. I'd really like to thank all of you all for having taken off the time, come here today. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you coming across and spending time with us. Thank you.